Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tori if you're new here, and today we are going to do a little recipe video, but things are going to be a little bit different. I do have some new faces here and I wanted to answer some questions that I've been getting. So recently I haven't been feeling my best self physically, mentally. I've noticed it more physically. It is very warm here in Colorado, and I'm not going to blame it all on the heat, but it's just been a lot harder for me to garden or do any type of physical exercise. I am just not finding myself to be motivated, and when I'm done with the exercise, I'm just not feeling my best self. Normally I would be done with an exercise and feel energized and excited, but I'm just not feeling that. So I'm going to be switching up my workouts. I'm not going to really share most of that because this isn't really a fitness channel, but if you have any questions about those, definitely leave them in the comment box below. But I am going to be switching up what I put in my body. I am actually going to be starting the Starch solution. I normally do this from time to time, so you may notice some of these meals to be pretty identical to the meals that I've eaten in the past. If you are interested in this diet, it is by Dr. John McDougall, and I can link his book in the description box below. It's just an Amazon link, so you could pretty much find his book anywhere. He has many books, and I will link some channels that I like to follow that follow the Starch solution. So Plentiful Kiki is one of them. High Carb Hannah was a really big one from the beginning, and many more. There are just so many different YouTubers out there that follow this diet, and they have so many different recipes, and it has really helped my journey. It can be really easy and budget friendly, and on top of it, it is super filling, so you can eat as much as you want on this diet, which is really exciting for me. The biggest challenge is going to be cutting out oils for me. I use oil on just about everything. I'm sure you've noticed that I cook with oil often. I think it adds a really good flavor, but I am going to take it out for the next 30 days to see if this helps. I have done this in the past before I had my children, and it absolutely gave my entire day a 180 physically, mentally. I've spoke about this before, but when I went vegan, I saw so much mental clarity. I could see the day differently. I could plan things out. I could multitask, which is something that I've always struggled with. I know everybody always tells moms to slow down, but in reality, it's really hard to do. So I like to keep a clean house. I like to eat well, and I like to do many other activities. So having mental clarity to organize those thoughts have really helped me in the past, and I'm hoping in the next 30 days it will as well. And then I'm just going to touch on one question that I got. It was my vegan journey and how to deal with people in your house that don't approve of your vegan diet. So I'm just going to share a little bit with you, and then we can get right into the video. My vegan journey started about 7 years. I was vegetarian when I was younger and became pescatarian. My dad's a fisherman and knows quite a bit about fish. I grew up fishing. My entire family grew up hunting, so we always had a freezer stocked of venison. I appreciate hunting. I find it very important, especially in the great state of Pennsylvania where I grew up, in the rural areas and communities. There are things that I'm just not happy with in the hunting world. Obviously poaching and large game really upsets me. And I did get this question, so I'm just going to answer it flat out. Why are you vegan? To put it simply, I really love animals, and I don't want to hurt them, and I don't want to eat them or put them in my body. So that is the simple answer, but there are many other benefits to this vegan diet. I do get a lot of questions about how can you be vegan and also purchase meat and dairy and cook it for your family? I am not my family. I am part of my family, but I believe that we are all individuals, especially my children. So I think it's super important to instill some of these ideas and let them make their own decisions. I've always found that that is super important for my family. Again, it is always up to each individual family. This is just our journey, and this is how we plan to raise the kids. If they come to me one day and say, hey, I want to go vegan, then that's totally fine. I can direct them to the proper dietitian, nutritionist, doctors to help them through that journey. Again, my background has never been in any of those fields. I just am an art teacher, more of a creative spirit, so I had to find my own way to be a vegan. So I found supplements that worked for me, I found what vegan foods worked for me and what did not. I should stop myself right there. I don't really like calling things vegan foods because essentially, you know, celery is considered vegan foods. So basically I found what foods work for my body and what foods made me feel good, and that's what I based all of this off of. I did go vegetarian when I was pregnant just because I found it really hard to keep down anything at all. So the recommendation was to just add what you could eat, and I found that cheese sandwiches, believe it or not, were an easy thing to keep down, and that is what I lived off of during my pregnancy with my son. And then my daughter, unfortunately, I had a lot of hyperemesis my entire pregnancy, and I just couldn't keep anything down. So I lived off of chips. I could keep down lemonade, and I believe bread, and that was about it. It was really, really tricky with her. I hear that about women that carry girls, so maybe it's a thing. Drop it down in the comments below if you have a girl and you were sicker in your pregnancy than you were if you had a boy. But I found that being a vegetarian during my pregnancy was just a little bit easier for me mentally as well. So I kind of dabble and I go back and forth, and I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, but that is basically my vegan journey. If you have any other specific questions about that, just drop that down in the comment box and I will absolutely answer it for you. And then to touch on the other question, which was how do you deal with people in your home that don't really approve of your vegan diet or don't really support it? This one's gonna be a little tricky. I've always been a person that is very much affected by words or actions, and growing up it was a little tricky because I got extremely emotional whenever there was some sort of confrontation or attack on my personal self, and I've been working on that my entire life. I am not perfect. I absolutely get emotional now. That's just how I am. Probably, you know, lends a hand into why I love animals so much, but I found that if someone had something negative to say about my vegan diet, I just chose not to talk about it with them. I immediately changed the subject to something positive and something that I knew wouldn't be confrontational, if that makes sense. It could be something as basic as the weather, but I generally liked to educate myself as much as I can on this journey. If you know in your heart that this is the way that you want to live your life, that's the most important thing. If this makes you feel happy, if this makes you love yourself more, if this makes you feel physically and mentally better, then that's the most important thing. So if someone in your life is giving you problems about this, I just urge you to educate yourself as much as you can. If you are not a fan of confrontation as much as me, then walk away or change the subject. Like I said, it always worked for me, just to something positive, and that gives that person an idea in their head that, hey, this is not something that they want to talk about, and if they want to talk about it further, that's your time to walk away. And I think that's absolutely appropriate. As long as you are feeling good about this vegan journey, then that's the most important thing. Of course, you're always going to have someone say, oh, I love bacon, or oh, I could never give up cheese. In my mind, it's just so many people say that. I'm like, great, cool, thanks for letting me know. I have just gotten a little bit sassy over the years when it comes to this. I don't walk into a room and say, hey, I'm vegan. That's just not how I go with it. I just try and stay in my own lane, if that makes sense. So that is my suggestion to you. I really hope that was helpful. I am more of a passive person when it comes to confrontation, so I may not be the best person to ask, but I have experienced it and I feel for you, and I think that it's something important that needs to be touched upon. So if you have any further questions about it, just comment down below or message me on Instagram and I can help you along that journey with you if you need a person of support. Hi, so I did want to answer another question. I'm outside now because the kids are asleep, but there was another part of the question, and how do you deal with meat eaters in the house? And I don't think I answered it fully. So I make just about anything in my house. So I make food for them as well as vegan food. And if they want to try some of the vegan food, they're absolutely welcome to. My son and my daughter both eat all of the recipes that I cook. And again, I said vegan food. I want to steer clear from that because it does not have to be called vegan food. When I first started cooking like this, my husband was of course curious and just wasn't a fan of the vegan substitutes because, you know, he's been eating the standard American diet for so long. It just really wasn't something that he liked. So I've noticed over the years that I really stick with the brands that I like, just like anyone would. So most of the brands that I use, I've used again and again. There are so many brands out there that I just absolutely despise, that is just not tasty, but I would never talk down on them because they are offering a vegan product. So if you have questions about specific brands, I could even do a video on my favorite vegan swaps. So like my favorite cream cheese, my favorite regular cheese, a good swap for this, a good swap for that. And what I've noticed is my husband really enjoys a lot of whole plant foods. So instead of doing like when we do buffalo chicken pizza, I don't go out of my way to find a shredded vegan chicken. I just use jackfruit and just call it a jackfruit pizza. Just call it like it is, and he eats it just fine. I'm lucky. I just don't have big complainers in my house. If anything, I'd say I'm the picky one because I have so many allergies when it comes to food. So I hope that answers the question. I apologize for not answering it when I was inside. I'm just like looking back on some footage. I'm like, hey, wait a minute, that didn't make sense. So I really hope that helped. To wrap up the statement, I think it's easiest just to make your food the way that you want it to, your plant-based food, and then just put it on their plate, see if they eat it. I never really say anything about it. I don't try and trick them either. That's a good point. So never try and say, hey, yeah, this is buffalo chicken pizza, when it's not. That's not fun. It's not fun for anybody. So I really encourage you to just call it like it is and just have them taste it. So let me know if you want to see a video on my favorite vegan swaps, because I have a bunch and I've gotten it down over the years. So I recently talked to a friend and we both agree that we don't really like veganism being used as a weight loss tool. So this is going to be a little bit contradicting, but I would like to get back to my pre-pregnancy weight because, to be honest, it helps with confidence. It makes me feel better, and I don't have to buy any new clothes. I can just wear the ones that I've had before. During the summer, I've always found it hard to wear shorts. I know some of you out there may be able to relate to this, but of course I'm not going to have the same body as I did in high school. I've grown 2 humans in this body, and I feel this summer I just need to be a little bit more proud of that. Unfortunately, in this day and age, it is super tricky to find things that are going to be more on the modest side, which is how I tend to dress. So I have found it really, really hard to find new clothes that actually fit my body type. So that is why I hold on to so many old clothes. So it would be nice if I could just fit back into there. I don't necessarily feel that I need to lose weight to look better, but I just want to feel a little bit more comfortable in my clothes, if that makes sense. Just need a little bit more room to breathe. So touching on the weight loss part of this, yeah, it would be nice if this contributed to that. But for me, it's more about that mental clarity. I am just having a super hard time finding a way to organize my thoughts. I know my children are pretty young, and that can happen to mothers with any sort of anxiety after pregnancy, but I am working my hardest. I'm a firm believer that what you put in your body is a huge contributor to your mental state. So I tend to read a lot of labels. I've been talking to Tamara about this. I know labels like the back of my hand. I know what most ingredients are. I am pretty well versed in what supplements to take for my body, and things that I'm lacking. I have been doing this for a while, so I know what my body is telling me, what it needs. If I feel tired, I need to rest. If I am feeling a little bit woozy in the head, or if I feel a headache coming on, it just means that I need some more water. There are so many other cues, so I urge you to get in touch with your body if you want to start on this journey before you start just jumping right into this vegan lifestyle, because it has a lot of information that goes along with it. And if you do have any questions, just connect with me. I'd love to be your system of support. Lastly, like I said, I've just been finding my physical exercises to be more daunting. I'm not excited to do it. I don't feel good afterwards. So I'm going to be changing that up as well. And I am going to be doing these videos on Wednesdays. So it's kind of like a what I eat on Wednesdays. And I'm going to share all of these recipes for you. I'm going to try and get on a better schedule. I see a lot of YouTubers have specific schedules, specific days for what videos they post, and I think that would be really helpful. So if you as a viewer have any suggestions on that, please drop that in the comment box below, because I do make these food videos for you. Most of the family vlogs are going to be for us to look back on, but it is always nice to share it with an audience. I think it's a fun way to connect with people. But if you do have any suggestions on a weekly upload schedule or videos that you'd like to see in the future, please always let me know. I am looking for ideas all the time. And if you are excited, let's just get right into today's video. I have a bunch of recipes to show you, and I really hope you got some information from today's intro. All right, breakfast number one. I have diced gold potatoes, I have kale, broccoli, onion, I have pepper and onion powder, and I'm gonna try no salt. If you stuck around for the intro, you know I have 3 weeks and I am going for it full throttle. No oil, no extra salts, maybe salt, I don't know, like once a day here and there, but I eat way too much salt. So I'm just gonna top this with some ketchup, sugar-free ketchup, or maybe some fresh tomatoes. I'm gonna serve it with some fresh fruit, and that is going to be my breakfast. I'm gonna put some hemp seeds on top of it. I know it's technically a fat, but I'm gonna need hemp seeds throughout the day to get some energy. So this is breakfast number one. I will show you how it turns out. So normally I would not do a second breakfast, but the kids woke up super early this day, so I actually had that last breakfast at around 6:30 a.m. and now I'm turning it into a second breakfast at around 9:30. So right now I have some black beans, I have some cream cheese and onions, green onions, and I'm using the Kite Hill cream cheese if you didn't know which one I use. Then I have some taco seasoning in there and some pepper. And then over here I have some leftover corn from the other night, as well as some mango, green onion. I have a little bit of tomato in there. If I had some green chilies, I would put that in there, and that is going to be my salsa. So I'm just gonna mix everything together here, and I'm using the refried black bean as a base, and then I'm going to put those potatoes on top of it, as well as some mango salsa. I'm gonna top it with some hot sauce, and that is going to be my second breakfast. I am having a little snack. I have some English cucumbers with pepper and onion on the onion powder, and then I have some nectarines. And I'm just going to eat this. I'm gonna have some sushi soon, so I'm gonna put some mango in the sushi and a little bit of tofu. And I will show you how I do that, but I am just a little bit hungry, so I'm gonna have a snack now. All right, this is a staple during the starch solution, and it is a sushi bowl. So I don't really feel like rolling sushi right now. I am lazy, and I'm gonna put it into a bowl form. So all I'm gonna do is cook some brown rice. I'm gonna pop it in this bowl, top it with some less sodium soy sauce, which is essentially soy sauce and water, and then I'm gonna place my toppings on top just for photo purposes. You could obviously just mix all of these in, but I'm gonna put some English cucumbers in there, as well as that seaweed. I just have a whole sheet of nori that I sliced into tiny little bits. And then I'm gonna put some mango on there, as well as some green onions. I'm gonna top everything with some black sesame and soy sauce, and then a little bit of sriracha, and call it good. Alright, here's dinner. This is my husband's. There's some chicken parm on there, but with cheddar instead of parm. And then for me, I have my 50-50 plate. I talked a little bit about that today, and I will elaborate more when we go into these videos a little deeper. But so essentially it's 50% of your plate a vegetable, and then the other 50% your starch or whatever you want. So I'm using the tomato sauce that I like. It does have olive oil in it, but I bought it without thinking, so I'm gonna use it. Obviously I don't want it to go to waste. I have broccoli with some pepper and some oregano on it, and then some whole grain pasta, and that's it. And then I am gonna try not to eat past 7:30. That's just how I am doing this. I've done it like this in the past. Alrighty, my friends, that is going to do it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed these healthy starch solution meals. Of course, I will drop all of the information that I am using in the description box down below. As always, stay adventurous, stay creative, and I will see you next time, y'all. Bye.